This is a module where everything clicks together. We have got a sub-agent that knows how to talk and a flow that knows how to act. Today we introduce them to each other and we make sure the plumbing underneath is secure. By the end, you will watch Mara cancelled high get resolved by the agent start to finish in plain text. Here's the honest truth about this step. It's easy to get the mapping right and still have the whole thing fail because of omission. An agent calling a flow doesn't run as you. It runs as a dedicated service user, and if that user can't read or write the right fields, the action just quietly fails. So we are covering both halves today, the wiring and the security around it. Let's define our vocabulary precisely. A custom agent is a thin wrapper. It takes an existing flow or Apex or a prompt template and exposes it to the agent with a defined set of inputs and output. It's not new logic. All the logic already lives in the flow we built last module. This wrapper only job is translation, turning the agent wants to do X into the call this flow with these values. Let's build it. We will go back to agent and then we are going to create an action. So if I go back over here, if you want to create a new action, just refresh this one. So I've got my Coral Cloud as a sub agent. I'm going to create a new action. I'm going to give an action name. So I've given a name. I'll give a description. Over here, we will select the flow that we created in the previous module. Now let's do create and open. So this particular action has been added to this sub agent now. Over here, we have got inputs. These are the inputs. There we have to now come and define what the description is all about. Let's do it one by one. For booking reference, I've just written the user-facing booking reference. This is how the booking is being called, the name as of now. I just given a example. Then I've given excursion date, the original book excursion date used as a fallback loop, because in the flow, in case we are not able to find the booking, we are asking user to enter the date. Then next we have added the name, excursion name, and also the guest ID is the contact ID of the guest who owns the booking. All these are the input parameters which are defined in the flow. Then the next one is guest name and the record ID. Record ID is the internal excursion name. Then we have got outputs. So these are the outputs which flow has will pass to the agent. So is rebook description is whether the booking was successfully rescheduled. Then the next one is message. We will say that show in conversation because we want the message which is returned by flow to be visible to the user. So I marked as show in conversation. So the next one is excursion date and the status. So this also I'll mark as show in conversation. So this is how we have added a action to a sub agent. An action is of type flow. And while adding the action, we have to fill in the description for the field so that agent understand what these input or output variables are all about. Let's go back to presentation. So this is what the steps that we executed. We mapped the input. So just to reiterate the inputs, So we had record ID, excursion name, date, and guest ID. So these were the description that we put in. Then about the output. So we had the output for the status. So let's discuss in brief about the output. So record ID comes from booking already in context if we have it. Excursion name and excursion dates are there as a fallback. Let me just put the previous slide. So let's go to the excursion name and excursion date. It just act like a fallback for us. Then if we talk about the output, we have got the status, new status and new excursion dates is rebook. And then we have got a message which is exposed to the agent. Once all of this is done, then we are going to attach the agent to the we are going to attach the action to the sub agent. So an action sitting by itself does nothing. It has to be attached to a sub agent. So that's what we were doing over here. When we went ahead and clicked this plus sign, this particular action, which is calling a flow, got attached to a sub agent. That's what it's all about. Now we have to tell the agent when to use it. So we are going to add an instruction where it will be a hard rule to remember, not a guideline that says when a booking is cancelled and the guest asks about alternative or reschedule, the agent must call this action before responding, and it should never claim no options exist without having actually checked. Without that instruction, the agent might just chat about rebooking in the abstract instead of actually running the flow. So if I go back, let's save this first. Now, if I go back to the sub agent, over here in the instructions, if I type in, so over here, we will say, so now we have written, never confirm a rebooking without checking the real availability using an action. Okay, so this is the action that we have added over here. So similarly, we'll add more instructions. So in case I want to reference the contact ID, I'll say at the rate, and then I'll start typing the contact ID. Okay. And then I can add instruction over here. So I've added more instructions. If contact ID is blank, select the guest full name and pass it to the action as guest name. So the booking can still be resolved. Then the next instruction is if the guest provides booking reference, call this particular action as soon as you have. So over here, we are explicitly setting the instructions for the agent and we are telling when to call this particular action. So this is all about this one. Then now let's talk about security because this part is easy to get wrong in a way that either everything will break or it's going to open a hole. Every time this agent invokes the flow, it's not running as you, the admin, logged in right now. It is running as the Einstein Service Agent User. That user needs enough access to do its job, reading and updating excursion booking record, reading slot availability. It absolutely should not have system administrator or broad access across your org. Least privilege isn't a nice to have here, it's what limit the damage if the agent ever gets a request wrong. So if we go back, so this particular agent, if you look into agent definition, is using a particular user. So we have to make sure this particular user has access, and it has access only to the fields or to the flow or to the Apex class, which it is supposed to have access. For that, we have to give a least privilege user access record to this user. Let's first save the work we have done so far. Let's go back to presentation. So over here, so if you have to design it, we need read and edit on excursion booking, read only on the excursion slot data, and importantly, V-level edit access scope down to just status and excursion date. Since those are the only two fields, this flow actually changes nothing more. So we will go ahead and now create a permission set. So let's take, for example, the permission set is Coral Cloud Excursion Agent Access. So in this particular org, I already created a agent access permission set. This is that permission set. In this particular permission set, we have given access as per this, like we have only given read edit to the booking object. We have given the FLS to status and excursion date only. And then once the permission set was created, then we assigned it to that particular user. So this is what these slides are all about. So once all of this is done, then we should do an end-to-end test. So just to reiterate, we have got a contact by name Mara. Mara is a guest. So Mara is a guest, and Mara has done a booking, EB001. We have got, and the status is cancelled. So we are going to simulate in this particular agent. And also you would have noticed that in the sub agent. So on this particular sub agent, you would have noticed we have removed all the sub agent which was not relevant. So now we are going to test a live test, and to do the live test, you go to agent definition, you have a preview, and over here, I'm going to write, my name is Mara, my guided validation volcano height got cancelled, what are my options? My booking reference is this. So if I send this, on the right hand side, you can see how the agent is interacting with the sub. So this is my sub agent, Coral Cloud. So you can see how it is interacting. So the agent router decided it will go to the Coral Cloud. Then over here, an action was taken. And then as per the action, if you see the tone, so over here it says, good news, we have found an open slot and moved your guided volcano to July 26. Over here it says like where I have to meet, lunch and all those things. Okay. Now, in case you want to see the variables, how that worked out. So these are the variables that was set. And if you see over here, now this is where we can see the value also. What was the text that was passed? This is the 24th one, the current date one, and what was the reply. So like this, when you are testing, you can see the variable values also, and you can trace also like how the agent was able to resolve the query. And if there is some error, you can always come back and check over here. Let's relook at the variables. So So these all are the variables which we have: contact ID and user ID. So these variables are for the messaging session one. So let's go back to presentation. So this is how we were able to test in the live preview whether our sub-agent is working correctly or not. Now let's recap. So let's take stock of what you have built across these three modules. You have named service agent with a properly scoped sub-agent, real hard rule and tone and style instruction, a working auto launch flow, a custom agent action wired into the sub-agent, and a lockdown permission model for the user that actually runs it. And you have proven end-to-end in plain text that a guest like Mara can get her cancelled hike resolved automatically. From here, the next set of modules take this exact agent and brings it into voice, but that's the story of module 6.